You might be wondering why I told you to call this math. Well, that's because we're going to be doing a little bit of basic math. In this lesson, we'll learn about operators and how you use them to work with data. Go ahead and reopen math.py in Vim and... Actually, let's teach you basic movement in Vim. Of course, can't forget that. So movement in Vim is done in normal mode, right? In normal mode, your keyboard keys aren't typing anything, they're for specific actions, and movement is one of those things. 4 of the movement keys in Vim are going to be H, J, K, and L, or left, down, up, and right. If you remember from a long time ago, the video game Dance Dance Revolution, these keys map exactly to the position of those arrows. So go ahead and tap those keys and try moving around a little bit, and then when you're ready, move to the very top left of the file. Then remember, hit I to go into insert mode, go ahead and type a new line, add a comment at the top here saying primitive types, and then remember, escape back to normal mode, and then navigate down to the bottom right of the file. If it feels sort of slow and clunky to move around right now, that's okay. You'll keep getting better at it and eventually you will be a whiz. Okay, now at the bottom right of the file, instead of hitting I, hit A. See if you can figure out what the difference is between those two. Give yourself a couple new lines and then create a new comment that says operators. And now let's work with some operators. Go ahead and type print parentheses 5 plus 5. What do you think that's going to print? 10, right? The plus operator is exactly what you think it is. It's addition, and Python will evaluate the sum of those two numbers, and that sum is what gets printed. That, in general, is how operators in programming work. They evaluate some kind of result based on the data that they're working with, and so here you're not literally printing 5 plus 5, you're printing the result of 5 plus 5. Okay, let's go ahead and crank out the other operators. We have all of the standard math operators. So we have addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division here. Once you finish typing all of these out, remember the typical scenario: escape to normal mode, :W to write, :Q to quit if you're using just one terminal, and then you execute your code after writing it, Python 3 math.py. So on top of the primitive types that we printed in the section above, you now have 4 more new things, 10, 0, 25, and 1.0, or the results of our operations. Notice how the output of 5 divided by 5 is 1.0 though, not just 1. That's because when you divide numbers, you can get dividends with partial numbers. And so that's why the output is always going to have decimal points or be a float. Cool, that covers some of the basic math operators. Let's go over just 3 more basic ones. We have one for exponents or power. In Python, that's going to be denoted with double asterisk. So if I do print 5 double asterisk 2, I am saying print 5 to the power of 2 or 5 squared. And here's another one, 5 integer division or 5 double slash 2. Up here, when you do 1 slash, you are just doing regular division, and so you always get an exact answer. If I do 5 slash 2, or 5 divided by 2, I get 2.5 as the answer. But integer division or double slash will always round down to the nearest whole number. So the answer of 5 slash slash 2 is not 2.5, just 2. You might not see it now, but it's actually a really useful operator. We're going to be working with it more in the future. The last operator you should be aware of is modulus, or the percent sign. This returns the remainder of the first number divided by the second number. So if I do 4 modulus 2, I'll get 0 because 4 is evenly divisible by 2. But if I were to do 5 modulus 2, the answer would be 1 because 2 goes into 5 2 full times with 1 left over. Alright, same thing again. Escape back to normal mode, :W to write, :Q to quit if you're in the same window, Python 3 math.py. Write and execute. And now there should be more lines of output where your program does additional operations. 5 squared is 25, 5 integer divided by 2 is just 2, and then there's no remainder in 4 divided by 2, so that's 0. Cool. And now let's do a little bit of cleanup on our output, because right now we see a bunch of numbers, but we have no idea what they mean or what the program actually evaluated. I mentioned before that Python, or programming languages in general, will evaluate operators so that you're just getting the result. But what if you actually just wanted to print 5 plus 5? Well, you can turn it into a string, right? You can surround it with quotes. And so here, check out what I'm doing. I'm going to go back to my code here, and I'm going to go to the first print statement, and I'm going to type open quote 5 plus 5 equals close quote, and then comma. Print can actually take multiple values or inputs, and it will automatically append them or combine them together for you. Remember, when you're done typing, hit escape to go back to normal mode, navigate around with HJKL, and then when you need to type again, hit I to go into insert mode. This is good practice for learning how to navigate in and out of the two different modes. If you need to pause the video, feel free. Really take the time to go through the motions here. It's all about the repetitions. Just keep doing it over and over and you'll get better at it. Really quickly, I'm going to check my progress with these first 4 print statements. I'm going to write my changes and execute my code, and now you can see the output is a lot easier to read and understandable. You actually see 5 plus 5 is equal to 10. Also notice how Python's print statement automatically combines the two different things together for me. I have a string literal, which is actually 5 plus 5 equals, that printed out as is, and then it evaluated 5 plus 5 to 10 before appending it to my output. Pretty cool, huh? Go ahead and finish up the last print statements here, and then we'll go ahead and wrap up the lesson. In the next video, we're going to set up your GitHub account and upload what you have so far.